Hey, good morning. Let's go over today's trade plan. So in the overnight session, we saw that the market was relatively balanced with ES balancing within Friday's range. And at this point, heading into the open, we know that overnight the buyers have maintained somewhat control, but 25 half to 27 is an important inflection point short term. And if the market continues to hold below that area, then we could quite easily get a pullback down to 18 half to 20 half, which would be the prior close and prior VPOC. And at that point, we'd have to gauge how the market is looking in real time, because a move down to 18 half to 20 half would actually signal weakness. And from there, we could actually break lower and go down to 10 half to 12 half, and then potentially lower. Again, that's something that we will have to gauge in real time to see if there's enough weakness in the market to make another low below Friday's low and test the 06 to 08 area, perhaps the 0475 naked VPOC, and 1975 to 1902.75. But right now, heading into the open, the market is relatively neutral, but we know that overall, the market has put in a pretty decent downside move, and with us balancing within Friday's range, this market could break either way at this point. We would have to see a pretty decent advanced decline reading and rising internals in order to get a breakout above 25 half to 27, or at least get a sustained breakout above that area. But at this point, if we can break above 25 half to 27, we could get a directional push up to 32 to 34. That's a spot where responsive sellers could be active, but if it's a high momentum breakout to the upside, then 37.75 to 40.75 could even be in play. So we will have to be careful at 32 to 34 on the short side, because depending on how the zone gets approached, there could still be a rejection or a failure at 32 to 34. But if the momentum is quite strong and the internals are rising and it's pretty clear that buyers are in firm control short term, which they definitely have a potential to be above 25 half to 27, then 32 to 34 could be more of an area that gets used as a profit target, an area where we take profit on longs, as opposed to a spot to short the market. So that's something that we will have to gauge in real time. Above that, 37.75 to 40.75 is a high odds resistance zone for, at the very minimum, a rotation and potentially even a area that caps the upside and the market returns to 32 to 34 and 25 half to the 28 area over here, kind of the top of the overnight range. So this zone up here, 37.75 to 40.75, offers pretty good odds on the short side, and unless the market is just clearly telling us that this is too strong to short, or it seems like more of a reversal type day setting up, we will look to short the market on first test of 37.75 to 40.75, and look for a rotation back down to 32 to 34, and then from there 25 half to 27. So as far as which way the market can go off the open, that is something, again, we will have to gauge off the open to see how strong or weak the internals are, which way the NYC tick is leaning, to give us an idea of the short-term momentum. And this 25 half to 27 area can almost be used as a short-term bull-bear zone. Holding below it, sellers have higher probability to maintain control, whereas a breakout above it would tell us that short-term the buy side is in control, and now we can get tests of the upper resistance zones at 32 to 34 and 37.75 to 40.75. So that's something we'll have to gauge off the open to see just how much strength there is in this market. Overall, we know bigger picture. The market has put in a decent downside move, and now this low at 10 half could either be a major swing low and the market starts kind of retracing and balancing, slowly heading back up, or if we see continued failure at 25 half to 27 and then break below 18 half, then we could actually get even another range extension lower and have to head even to some of those lower prices to find some responsive buyers and then perhaps put in a reversal and start balancing in a wider range. As we covered on Friday, the really bigger picture support is at 88 to 90, but short term, this 06 to 08 area is the bottom of a previous balance, a very short-term balance, and there is potential that even this area could shut off the downside and the market starts bouncing in a wider range going back up. So those are the main thoughts heading into the session. Econ calendar is quiet, not really much going on. So based on that, it would also support the idea of a somewhat balanced type session. It's just a matter of figuring out where the market could balance. A breakout above 25.5 to 27 would tell us that we can balance at slightly higher prices, or perhaps in the pre-market support to initial resistance, or pre-market support to 37.75 to 40.75 range. Whereas failing at 25.5 to 27 and just rejecting it outright could result in balancing between pre-market resistance and initial support, or pre-market resistance and 06 to 08. So those are the main thoughts heading into the open. Let's see if the buy side is pretty active and aggressive off the open, and take it from there.